Hey, it's Mother Funny Time with Andie and Angie.
2 cousins, 8 kids, 1 grandkid, 2 states.
And a whole lot of fun. Woo! Welcome back, Mother Funny Tribe. It's Angie and Andy, and I feel like we need a sports theme. What's that song?
I was thinking like,
Already
take
blanking.
me out to the ball
Out
game.
to the ball. I was thinking of like those burr, 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 like when you get in the stadium. The music they play, do they play music in the background of your, like, of the girls' basketball or anything?
No, they don't, because it's only second grade rec. And there's literally a game right next to them.
And you're still pulling their hair out.
Well, at the gymnastics meet, they did stop before every meet, because, you know, they do meets one after the other, and they did the national anthem. So everybody stops and they do the national anthem.
Very patriotic.
Yes. Yes.
Chris and I were once at a junior high's boys basketball game, and they played "Take It on the Run, Baby. If that's the way you want it, baby, then I don't." It was REO Speedwagon, and I'm like, this is such a random song for a boys basketball game, but here we are.
I would have thought they would have done
enjoyed
like Space Jam. You know, right?
Space Jam.
Because that's like a basketball.
I mean, because there's basketball.
Space Jam.
No, they played REO Speedwagon, and it was in the South, and I appreciated it. But we are back talking about sports moms, extracurricular moms, and Angie is back from a weekend tournament where her daughter did gymnastics all weekend long. And of course, Angie had to volunteer, because that's part of the mom world in sports, is you get to volunteer for something. Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 9.
Well, that's what's funny. What's the term for forced volunteer work?
It's called volunTOLD. You're volunTOLD.
Yes, that's exactly it. I was volunTOLD this weekend for 9 hours. Ryan was volunTOLD for 5. And even my mom had to volunteer for 5 hours. And then she said she's never doing this again. So she participated.
She's done. She's out. She's like, grandmas don't
She
have
did
to
a
do
good
that.
job, though. She was super helpful. She wore her volunteer shirt. So it is funny, though, because it's like you're paying for your child to compete. You're paying for the uniform. You're going to all the practices. You're doing all the things. And then you have to volunteer on top of that. It just doesn't stop. Like, it's one thing, then the next thing, the next thing. It's like, okay, I see what's happening.
Such a money maker, right? Like, I don't know where the money goes, but like, it's insane how much money it costs for your kids to play sports.
Okay, seriously, I had to work the check-in, and it's only cash. So I was sitting there practicing all like my mental math and like adding and then having to subtract, because then they're giving me the bigger bill. It was so funny. I was like, okay.
You're all exact change only. I'm sorry, everyone. Exact change.
Well,
I have to be here for 9 hours.
So many people came with like a card, which makes sense. And I'm like, sorry, we don't take credit cards. The ATM's over there. And I'm like, it's just weird to talk about an ATM. Nobody uses ATMs. Nobody does cash anymore.
Get on the payphone. Find out from your bank how much money you have left.
Right. Do you want to write a check?
And then go to the
It
ATM.
was so funny. And to see people's faces too, like, cash, really? I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. And all the bills were flying.
Well, it's true. When your kids are in sports, you have to keep a cash stash, because you never know when parking's going to cost. Usually somebody on the GroupMe app or the band app has told you, okay, it's $10 cash parking, and then blah, blah, blah. But yeah, you have to keep a cash stash if your kids are in sports, and you have to keep an offshore account in the Bahamas to pay for their season.
Yes, exactly. That's such a good point. And it's funny you're mentioning parking, because that's what I'm always concerned about, is what the parking situation is going to be like. At this time, there was this big parking garage, which was across the street. But if you went down a few other streets, it would have been free. But then it was that idea of like, no, but at least I know where my car is. Because we were at a convention center, which was just huge. You know, and I thought, I just don't want to get lost trying to figure out where my car was, because I used free parking. But then thankfully our stuff was there. We had to get there really early. so we at least had parking, but then they were saying it was getting really difficult for parking, especially because people in like the huge SUVs and the huge minivans, like you couldn't actually like get in your car because the cars were parked so close together. People couldn't get in their car. So they'd have to go on the opposite side of the car and like get in the wrong door or like the minivan slide door and then climb over because it was so packed.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do. You and I are going to start a business. And we're going to make shuttle lots where moms can park and it's going to be low cost. And then we're going to welcome them on to the bus with either a coffee or a mimosa, depending on where their jam is.
Yes.
Or a diet soda. We're going to like help their children onto the bus. We're going to help with the equipment. We're going to tell them how pretty they are and give them beverages. And then we're going to play 90s hip hop all the way to the venue.
Yes.
And then we're going to drop them off.
That is fantastic. With a snack. Also, with some really good food, not a protein bar. Like maybe a donut or a muffin.
It'll be carby.
Right? 100%. And then we take them back to their car once everything's done. Like a good, quick dinner, like something from like Taco Bell or In-N-Out.
Like we'll have bags of tacos or burgers.
Yes.
And we'll have cozy socks.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay, no joke, because I was on my feet for 9 hours yesterday volunteering. My feet are so sore. They are so sore. And I'm like, wow, how do people who work at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A do this? Like when you're on your feet that whole time, it is a workout, but your feet, I was like, oh, I forgot what this is like. I mean, it's a lot. It was a big deal, but we made it through the weekend. Peyton did great. Her team did great. It's all worth it. She loves gymnastics. So it's the little things we do.
Yay. So we'll have fun like cloud slides for all the women when they get on to put on their feet.
Nice. Or Ugg slippers.
Oh, Ugg slippers. And then we'll just kind of give everyone a little shoulder rub real quick and be like, good job. You did so good. And then we'll tell the kids who competed, good job.
Right. You did good too.
But the moms will give them all medals that say MVP. Your child would not be here literally without you. Well done.
A sash. Like sports mom sash and a crown. I think just to, identify and really to show and appreciate, and other people can appreciate what the sports mom has done. Like number one, sports mom.
How do we make
with
this
a medal,
happen?
Sports mom, maybe even a trophy and a tote bag. We all need a tote bag.
A tote bag, yes. With a coffee on the way home. You can get a mimosa on the way there and a coffee, or just a coffee on the way home. Why do we have the best ideas on this podcast? Somebody needs to start this. And I would totally put my kids in all sports if this is what it was like pulling up to events. I would find kids off the street. I'd be like, you want to play something? Because I really like this shuttle bus idea. We'll call it Mimosa. Mom, MVP, Mosa. I don't know.
I'm trying to think. Mimosa Travel Agency.
Mimosa. It should be like MVP. Mimosa Vehicle.
I don't know. I can't figure out the last
Anyway,
part.
but it can be if you don't drink champagne at 9 a.m. or 7 a.m. when they start, you can also have just an orange juice. Anyway, so we're going to talk about sports. So what other things? We talked last time about Martha,
we
the
sure
difficult
did.
mom.
I think you called her
out Martha.
You called her the problematic mom or something. It was so great.
The problematic mom. We talked about how Angie let her anger out on a mom who kindly did not believe in love for all the children. Did not believe children deserved love. I'm just going to say that way. But now this time, we talked about the equipment, the amount of equipment they needed. Everyone needs. So what now?
So this time we are going to talk about, are you ready? signs that show that you are a sports mom, or here are some things that you do as a sports mom when it's like, yep, I do that, I do that, I do this. This is so relatable to every sports mom, extracurricular activity mom, every mom whose kids are in band or drama or any other activity, choir, Boy Scouts. Oh, wait, no, it's not called Boy Scouts. It's called Scouts. Scouts of America. Because there's Boy Scouts, there's Girl Scouts.
Are selling cookies right now.
And then there's Scouts. So maybe there's all three. Anyway, all the moms.
Well, the Girl Scouts are out in force right now. We have so many boxes of cookies.
Nice.
And I want to encourage them, empower them. So I just tell them how great they are. And then little girls will put boxes in my hands. And I'm like, okay, these are what I'm buying then. Because it's okay to eat them. And we're just going to enjoy them. Anyway, that's another
You can't say no to Thin Mints. I mean, really, it's so good. Are you ready? Here we go. Here are some signs that you're a sports mom. Number one, you're your child's biggest fan and everybody knows it. Even if you're timid and quiet usually during the day, something happens when you're watching your child compete and it brings out the loud and proud fan in you. Somewhere between their first soccer game and the high school varsity team, you became that mom. And let's face it, we've all become that mom at one point or another, or maybe every single game. You would not have it any other way. You scream, you yell, you get heated, and you love every second of it. Andie, Miss Competitor, we know she is out there cheering and cheering and cheering.
I yelled Shiloh volleyball pants, Shiloh, whatever she was doing. If she was setting, Shiloh set her pants. Whatever it was, she's in high school and I'm yelling Shiloh whatever pants. And then they would always go, Shiloh would stand on the sidelines and cheer on her team going, let's go, whoever. And so when Shiloh went up, all of us would yell, let's go, Shiloh, and clap for her. So, yes, I loved it. Even when she was in kindergarten, and she was playing soccer, and she was playing on this team, and she was so scared to kick people's shins because she's such a sweet girl. I started yelling at her, kick their shins, because she would like back away when she got close to the ball because she didn't want to kick their shins. I'm like, just kick them in the shins.
Yeah, you were that mom.
I was that mom, but I was not a Martha. That was
so funny.
I was kick them in the shins, mom.
Because with twins, and then if they're playing basketball at the same time because they're on the same team, so I'm cheering for Peyton, and then I'm cheering for Tegan, and then there's another girl, we'll call her Tia, and I'm cheering for Tia because her mom a lot of times can't come because the dad is there coaching, and they have a lot of kids in their family, and so I'm literally cheering the whole game. And it occurred to me a couple of games ago, I was like, oh, yeah, I really am that mom because I'm literally cheering every second of the game. The whole time. I'm not saying anything mean, but it's like, go Peyton, go Tia, come on, defense. And then you have to do the let's go Blazers. It's a whole thing. And I realized, oh, I wonder if I'm annoying anybody because I am cheering the whole. I'm not going to stop.
Does it matter?
No, I'm not going to stop.
I'm like, yeah, who cares?
But I'm admitting it.
You should. And if the other team is extra loud, and they're being obnoxious, then you have to be even louder. That's what I've learned. If the other team's being obnoxious, then it's on. And again, I'm thinking mostly older kids sports, but in volleyball, when the other team got loud, we were like, oh no. Now it's a competition with the parents who can cheer louder.
Bring it on.
But, you leave. You don't make eye contact. You just walk away. Everything's fine. It's part of the game.
Yes, it is part of the game. Okay, your car is your home away from home. This is us 100%. You feel like you spend more time in your car than you do in your actual home. Your SUV or minivan is fully stocked at all times with blankets, lawn chairs, extra equipment, and lots of snacks, which you also call lunch when you're super busy on the weekend.
Absolutely. You're like, there's protein in that snack bar, that granola bar. That's lunch. You're good.
And that goes back to our mom idea because they'll have dinner when they leave. So it's not their lunch or their dinner. In our mom
There'll be
van,
hot food.
We have to come up with a name for that.
Mom Van Party Time, MVP.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Hello.
You guys, nobody take this from us, but if you're an investor, we're here. We're here to start MVP. It's going to be amazing.
That is incredible. Okay, you know you're a sports mom when your kids are constantly hungry. Sports moms are accustomed to the second dinner that follows the intense calorie-burning practice that comes after their first dinner. Your life consists of food, more food, cooking, dishes, more cleaning, and going back and forth from the kitchen to the refrigerator, the grocery store, constantly. And I think this is most likely also when they're younger, but really when they're teenagers. Because something already happens when they're teenagers and they're hungry all the time, and then they're playing sports on top of it.
Yes. Yeah, I was just visiting with a friend who has two teenage boys and one 10-year-old. But anyway, all the boys are very tall, and the two older boys are really into baseball. And at their house, they were making dinner for us. And every few minutes, the poor boys who were so hungry were like, Mom, is dinner ready? Is dinner ready? Is dinner ready? Dad, is dinner ready? And they're like, can we have cereal? Can we have this? And I was like, oh, you guys, I'm so sorry. Like, we can eat whenever. They're like, no, you don't understand. This is all day, every day. They're just hungry all the time. She's like, once our food bill, like once they grow up, like our food bill, we're going to have so much extra income to spend. When you need like another mortgage just for the grocery store, all the runs and filling them up, filling their bellies.
Okay, you know you're a sports mom. You are your child's number one supporter off the field. So we mentioned that you're their number one fan and you always cheer for them loudly and proudly, and you're so excited anytime they're even close to the ball, when they're somewhat even about to start playing or practicing. But this is now when they're off of the field also. And sometimes your kids need to vent about practice or the team or an upsetting loss. And you're there just to listen. And if they need to cry, you let them cry. Sports teaches kids about winning and losing, teamwork and humility, selflessness and injustice. Boy, the injustice. When those calls are wrong, there is injustice.
I know.
Now, these are not always easy lessons for kids to learn. You, sports mom, are there to help them as they learn the harsh realities of sports and life.
Okay, so this is a good talking point because we were kind of discussing this, and after a child leaves like a tournament or whatever, it's usually a pretty emotional time, right? Like especially if they've lost or if they weren't played enough or what they thought was enough or whatever. There's usually an emotional time. Even if they win, though, there could be times where they're like, but I messed up here, I messed up there, or whatever it is. So how do you talk to your kids after a game or before a game? Like, how do you encourage them in a healthy way?
Well, the research is now saying that you're not supposed to say anything. So say your child, whether for the good or the bad, when they get in the car or even as they're walking to the car, parents are supposed to remain silent. And then you remain silent that entire time until your child is ready to actually speak. Because sometimes kids are still processing it, like you're saying, even if it's a win or if it's a loss, their brain and their emotions are still working through and processing what just happened. And so they just need to take a breath and to relax. And so some kids, they might not talk for like an hour. And so that mom, you're just sitting there in that car, which is quiet, and you are just letting them think through everything. Or if they're upset and they're crying, okay, let them cry. Or even if they're excited, let them be excited. But the goal for moms and what research is now showing is that moms just need to be completely silent, wait till their child speaks first, which is hard because so many times moms just want to encourage, especially if it's like they had a hard game or their team lost or there was a lot of injustice that went on. And you want to state your opinion or you want to support your child. But now research says you have to be silent until your child is ready to talk about it and until your child is even ready to discuss it and go into detail. Because they might just want to talk about a few things and then they still don't want to talk after that. And then, okay, they mentioned a few things and now they're quiet. Okay, now we're going to be quiet again. That is not the time to give your full analysis of the game.
Yes, which a lot of us I think want to do, and which I've done and I've heard other people done. Like the minute's over, you're like, okay, and you're trying to encourage your child. But I like what you're saying, that it's probably not the most helpful. Like they just need a minute to process. So I do think you should warn them like, hey, mommy has feelings, but I just want to respect your time and I want to respect your processing. So I'm not going to say anything, so that they don't think they're just getting the silent treatment. Like they come out and you're like,
that's a good point.
So,
yes.
They're like, why is mom mad? Mom's so angry. She won't talk to me. So that's awesome. I think that's great. I mean, it's too late for me, but for my grandkids, I could try that.
Well, you even mentioned before the game, and we try to kind of go off of what our kids want. So like Peyton before a gymnastics meet, she just wants to listen to one song over and over and over again. And so we let her listen to that one song over and over again. And even we had to drive over an hour to get to the meet. And so Peyton was playing her song and Riley was like, what about this song? What about that song? And no, Peyton did not want any other songs. And we had to tell her, Riley, even though Riley's suggestions were accurate and I saw why she was suggesting those songs, that is not what Peyton wanted. She wanted her one song to just be played. And so as much as we were ready to move on from that one song, which now I have memorized.
For an hour?
Because last week she had a meet and she only wanted to listen to that one song. So we have really gone through this great song that helps her get in the zone when it comes to gymnastics meets. So I think part of it is letting your child choose what they want to do before a game or before a meet or a match. And sometimes moms might think, well, this helps me out, so it will help my child out. But maybe that's not what's best for them. I know other people have said their child needs it silent on the drive to a game. So they're just silent because their child's trying to process through everything. I do have to say, okay, I was volunteering for check-in and it was the level 10s who were about to compete. So all these level 10 girls, well, they call them something else, but it's 10 plus essentially. These are like the best of the best gymnasts, okay? And they had like college recruits were there. Like it was pretty cool. Like I actually got to meet some of the college recruits. So the best of the best college recruits were there. These girls are amazing. They're walking in and this one girl walks in and you could just see her and she looks like an athlete and she has like her earbuds in and she walks in and she's checking in. And it was so funny because everyone's trying to, okay, first of all, I don't know who this girl is because I don't follow gymnastics, but everybody's trying to play it cool because as she's walking in, everybody's like, there she is, there she is, there she is, there she is. Everybody's talking about her. And then she walks in and like, she goes to these people and they like check her in or whatever. She went to their line, so they check her in. And as she walks away, everyone's like, did you see that? And everyone's like so excited, but nobody wanted to like ask for a picture or say anything to her because we didn't want to throw her off because this was her big moment to shine, you know? So it was like, act cool. You could tell they were all trying to be cool and like let her be in the zone. Clearly she's coming in. She knows what to do. But everyone was so excited. Everyone was talking about it after. I should say everyone but me because I was like, who was that? And I was like Googling it. I don't know anything about gymnastics.
By the time Peyton's like 10, you'll probably, or even 8, you'll probably be in the know and you'll be telling us like, oh my goodness, guess who we met today? Peyton, because she's amazing and number one. That's what you'll say.
Yeah.
That's true. Like everyone has their own process. I did make a playlist to hype Shiloh up for every game. And when I would take her and her friend, we would drive together. And it included Eminem's Lose Yourself because I think that's one of the best hype songs of all. I mean, the clean version where he doesn't say all the bad words, but it's such like a good, like the story is like you just got one shot. Don't miss your chance to blow. And then as soon as they would leave, I would be like, remember to play with the intensity of Eminem, but with the heart of Jesus. And that was what we did every time. I'm like, how do you play, girls? The intensity of Eminem and the heart of Jesus.
Best advice of all time.
Lose yourself and love others. That's how you do it. Now, Shiloh did not make that playlist. I feel like her playlist would be too mellow. But I was like, no, we are going to like pump up this playlist. So anyway, it's important. It's important to get, be in that mind, especially as they get older and it gets more intense. Because when they're young, it's still fun. But as they get older, it's like, it's more about their future. I mean, not that it isn't now, but you know what I'm saying? Like recruits start coming or they start thinking about college and do they want to pursue this in college and what does that look like?
I just want to have a shirt that says Play with the intensity of Eminem, love like Jesus. That is a fantastic slogan.
And the heart of Jesus.
That's amazing. The heart of Jesus. Play like Jesus. Jesus was perfect at sports. We can't do that, but we can play with the heart of Jesus. That's incredible.
But we can play with the heart. We can love others, be humble, but also we got one shot. We're going to play with all we got. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime, yo.
I do love that song. I love it. Of course I do. It's my time. It's back in my time. Okay.
I know. This is your genre.
You know, you're a sports mom. This is relatable to every single sports mom, extracurricular activity mom, every band mom out there. Your schedule revolves around practice. Scheduling anything is a total nightmare, and you don't really have a weekend because your weekends are jam-packed with games and practices. Weekend invites are always met with a "let me get back to you" because you have to check the ever-changing sports schedule. You also have to check all the relevant emails, updates from the coach, or look at the sports apps, which we talked about before, all those sports apps. You have to check all of that before you can even make plans. You wake up earlier on the weekends than you do during the week, and your days are just as busy, if not busier, on the weekdays. True story, I usually get up at 5:50 every morning during the week. On Saturday and Sunday, I got up at 5 a.m. I was like, why am I doing this?
Mom we need to start this MVP business. There should be strong coffee. Maybe instead of mimosas, we're doing Irish coffee.
There you go. Or both. Let's just start off mixing.
Or both. We need energy. We just know we need energy. That's so true. Every mom I know that has a kid in sports, the weekends are like, they never get a weekend off. It's like full schedule. But here's my question, because this is always a bit controversial in the church, is sports on Sundays. I know parents who on Shiloh's teams who made like a commitment that they would not play in any tournaments that were on Sundays. Or they wouldn't do any practices on Wednesday nights if they did midweek church.
I'm not going to comment.
Just saying, but it is something you know, about. Like I see it's a little bit divisive. I think that it's a little easier now because a lot of churches have like Saturday nights or they have different week things. But I think Wednesdays are the hardest because a lot of practices end up on Wednesdays and a lot of churches do their midweeks on Wednesdays. So somebody's got to move around. But yeah, it's hard for people who go to church more than once a week.
Okay. I can't. I am not going to make a comment about that because, yeah, it is hard. It's hard to figure out, do you skip church or do you go to the game or do you go to the practice or do you miss Wednesday evening service? It is hard. I think that's when you kind of decide like what's right for your family and you just have to stick to that. And that's when you tell your child like, this is what our family's doing or this is what's best for our family, and then communicate it with the coach or even with the team and say this is what's important to us. And then you stick to that. Or maybe you change it as time goes on. Like you're saying, being involved when they're younger, super important, but I think it might even become more and more important as they get older and their, you know, college career could count on it. So I'm not going to say yes or no to either of that, but yes, that is a good comment that you made. There's Andie. I've known that other bringing in the controversial topics.
She's trying to I'm just putting in things that moms are dealing with that are difficult when they're in sports. I know for me, because we were in youth ministry for a long time, and there were certain sports seasons that we wouldn't have kids because they couldn't come because they had sports like Wednesday nights. And I have friends whose kids were in high school who were like, we just don't go on Wednesday nights. But they would just kind of talk about that with their coaches, like you said, or even finding something else for them to do during midweek if that's what's important to you. So, yeah. So this is what Angie and I say. You're fine. You're doing great. Hang in there.
There you go.
Go get on the MVP bus.
Yes.
Get your coffee. Get your slip-on shoes. Get to the tournament. Get a little shoulder rub.
You're doing a good job regardless.
Get them sash.
Yeah. You're trying to get them to the practice and the games on time. You're trying to remember everything. You're doing good, moms. You are. You're part of the sports
good.
mom, extracurricular activity mom, tribe, Mother Funny tribe. We're all in this together because we're all up at 5 a.m. or we're all staying up late to those evening games, because sometimes there's those evening games that go super late, or the practices that run long.
Yes.
Or going from like school to practice, and then after that is picking up another kid, because it's not like we only have one child in sports. That's the other thing. There's multiple kids in multiple sports, and you're trying to be there at everybody's game, and you want to attend every single game. And so you're doing so good, Mom. Okay, just a few more, and we're just going to go through these super fast. You know you're a sports mom when you have to struggle with your kids on getting them to do their homework because it's school,
Yeah.
you know, extracurricular
They're
activity.
exhausted.
Then it's homework and then eating again. And then they, have to eat one more time. And then somehow they're supposed to do homework in there. So that we all have to go through. Okay. This one real quick. You know you're a sports mom. You help them find the positive in every loss. This is controversial, though.
Yes.
Again, it's another controversial point. Some people do this, some people don't, because there's also that idea of let your child work through it, ask them how they're doing and how they feel about it, but then they need to deal with that with their coach also. So you can make it a life lesson if you want as the mom, but I was listening to this coach who coached Olympians. And he said that whenever his kids were in a game or a practice, they would come and try to talk to him about it. And he would say, no, any of your concerns, talk to your coach. Any of your concerns, talk to your coach. And he actually had the coach his own kids. And he's like, I'm an Olympic coach. Like, I could offer them a lot of advice. But because he wanted to build that trusting relationship between the kids and their coach, he did say up until like if their child was getting disrespected, to him, that was the line. Like, if there's disrespect happening, I'm going to step in. But his point was really having the coach really take the lead on that. However, there are those times when it's like, no, let's talk about this. Your mom is your number one fan, but you also want to maybe see the highlights or the life lesson or encourage your kids through the hard times. So that's, again, it's Andie wanting to be controversial, so I'll give you your moment to shine.
I had nothing to do with this one. This was all
I kept it in for you.
I am listening. I am listening. You mean sometimes kids lose and have feelings about it? That's weird. I don't know what you're talking about. Whatever. Okay. Good job. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I did. I brought up the hard one. Okay, you're a sports mom. Here we go. You thought you were nervous when you played sports, but now you're watching your kids play sports and you're even more nervous. They say the most nervous parent of any sport out there is the mom whose child is the goalie in any game. Anytime it's like a hockey goalie or a soccer goalie or a lacrosse goalie, if your child is the goalie, that's the mom who's the most stressed out and nervous the entire game.
That makes so much sense. I know, like, I wear my Apple Watch, and when I would be at games and my child was not a goalie because she played volleyball, but my heart rate was constantly... I was in the burn, like, aerobic zone, just sitting there, just so nervous. And it was like elementary and junior high, like volleyball. And I'm like, I need to chill out. But if you're a soccer mom and your child's in the goal.
We went through that, right?
Brooklyn
was the goalie at one point, and I was stressed out the entire time that she played goalie. I even asked the coach, like, can she not play goalie as much? Because I can't handle this. Like, she's doing great, and she was a fantastic goalie, but I was like, I am so stressed out the entire time. And if the other team scored, it wasn't her fault, right? There's a bunch of other players on the field, but you just are watching every single second. You, like, hold your breath. That's the thing. When you're the mom of a goalie, you're constantly holding your breath, like, did they get it? Okay. It's like, so your breathing patterns are off. Your heart is racing.
Your Apple Watch is like alerting you, breathe, seek medical attention.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just the stress. All right.
2 more and then we're done. I know. 2 more.
Okay.
So
we're
fast.
out of time, but I want to hear these.
We'll do these so fast.
Say it.
Okay. As a sports mom, you love every single minute. You love watching the progress your child has made in what seems like a very short time. You develop a massive appreciation for the other coaches and the athletes who spend so many hours loving on your kid, and you don't ever want it to end. And then, because for some reason, once again, because my algorithm thinks I'm a senior citizen, here's one that, of course, comes up because it thinks that I have children who are grown up. Okay, sports moms, someday you will miss the days of sideline cheering and cheering for your kid and being there in support of your child.
So true.
Waking up early, spending the car rides with them. Yeah. Someday you'll miss this exciting time. But I don't want to talk too much about that because my algorithm already thinks I'm older than I am. And then the more we talk about it.
Menopause, perimenopause, hormone replacement therapy.
I was like, of course that pops up.
So
of course,
true.
to me. You're going to miss this one day.
It's so true, though. I think I definitely mourned Shiloh ending her volleyball career before she did. She did later, but it was like maybe 6 months later. Like I had already processed it, mourned it, been really sad, moved forward. And then she's like, Mom, now I'm mourning it. I'm like, yeah, it's hard. So it's hard, but it's good. Your child is going to eventually leave, and then you can go to your grandkids' stuff and you can go to your friends. Like I literally am like, okay, I will go to my friends' kids' sports just so I can cheer them on and have a little bit of that. So just because your kid grows up and doesn't play anymore, it doesn't mean you can't still go cheer on your friends' kids or family friends' kids. Family kids. You can still do it. It's still fun. Like you have a blast and you don't have the anxiety usually. Like we super cheer on when our friend, we would go to his football games his senior year. So much fun, but you don't have the mom anxiety, but you still get all the fun parts of it. So there is a benefit. Your anxiety level
is down. Perfect.
You can drive the MVP bus when your kids graduate.
Yes, you get promoted to driver.
Yes, you're going to be fun pamper mom. Yes. Well, thanks you guys for tuning in again. We love you. We encourage you. We think you're a great activity mom. Whatever your child is in, maybe they're a musician, maybe they're a poet, maybe they're Taylor Swift, maybe Andrea Swift is listening to us and she just needed encouragement.
There you go. And
she's definitely listening to us.
You totally just came up with the term. We could not figure it out. Activity mom. That's exactly what it is. Mom. It took us 2 podcasts see, you are good at naming things. I knew it would happen, and you came up with it. Activity mom. Fantastic.
I also came up with MVP, and I really want the copyright on that. Because that needs to happen, and we need investors. If you're an investor, we're here. It's more of a charity.
So all the activity moms,
helping moms
like us, share us, tell another activity mom. Good job.
Tell a Martha to settle down and listen to this podcast because she needs
100%.
Like we all do. All right. Bye, you guys. All right. That's all we have time for today. We got to wrap it up, unfortunately. But just remember, you might think you're doing just okay, but we think you're doing really great.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. We hope you have a great Mother Funny day. Please like and share our podcast.
But please don't tell our moms.